At NASA, we're reaching for new heights so that we remain the world's leader in space. We're pioneers, and we always have been, and we're building on that pioneering spirit in science and technology so that we make the world a better place and we create jobs right here on Earth.
Hi, I'm Bill Barry, NASA Chief Historian. We're here in the NASA Headquarters Historical Reference Collection, a place where we maintain an archive of documents, records, and reference books that researchers can use and that we use to answer all sorts of questions. In addition to NASA records, we have records from the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, the NACA. We've been pretty busy here for the last year, getting ready to mark the centennial of the creation of the NACA. But the importance of the NACA is not just a matter of old books and dusty records. The story of the NACA is one of incredibly dedicated people, pushing the cutting edge of new technologies and doing that in new and creative ways. It had such a revolutionary impact on our world that we hardly notice it these days, but you might not have guessed this from its modest beginnings. With the passage of the Naval Appropriations Act on March 3, 1915, the NACA came into existence. Its mission to supervise and direct the scientific studies of the problems of flight with a view to their practical solution, and to determine the problems which should be experimentally attacked, and to discuss their solution and their application to practical questions. Between its creation in 1915 and its recreation as NASA in 1958, the NACA's systematic approach to the problems of flight made fundamental contributions to the worldwide development of aeronautics and beyond.
The NACA is in process of great change. As you know, the final decisions are being made by the democratic processes of our chosen form of government that will result in the establishment of a new agency, the National Aeronautics and Space Agency, built around the present NACA, with responsibilities for the non-military aspects of space activities.
The culture that's the National Aeronautics and Space Administration is built on the tenacity and expertise of NACA researchers that transitioned from that NACA to NASA in 1958. It's part of the drive behind everyone with a passion for space travel and modern flight. During the 50s and 60s, aeronautics engineers transitioned into spaceflight directors. Leaders of the NACA brought us to the moon. Wind tunnels once used for aircraft tests are now being used to test both rockets and aircraft. Centers of aviation now built and designed and tested spacecraft. In less than 70 years, we as a nation and a world had gone from a fledgling motorized flight on a sand dune in North Carolina to supersonic flight above California's Mojave Desert to walking out of a spacecraft onto the lunar surface. These accomplishments, and many more, rest squarely on the shoulders of the men and women of the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. NASA was founded in October 1958, but it was born on the 3rd of March 1915. This legacy of excellence continues in NASA, where not only are we on a journey to Mars, building on the legacy of NACA engineers, but we continue to push the boundaries of performance and efficiency in the air. NASA's with you when you fly.
But now we have come to a new day. NACA is to become part of a new agency, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. But, and this is extremely important both to you and to me as individuals and to the success of our mission, NASA must be like NACA in the qualities of strength and character that make an organization great.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
At 10:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 31st, 1958, the attention of the American people was focused on Cape Canaveral, Florida, as a giant rocket was catapulted toward outer space. Few events in American history have been so awaited, prayed for, worked for, as the Army's successful launching of Explorer 1.
Seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff.
Been a few decades since Nancy Roman worked at NASA, but she still has vivid memories of a time when the Hubble telescope was little more than an idea.
I remember when we were thinking about hoping it would last 15 years, and I'm certainly glad that it's lasted another 10. and still going strong.
Not bad for a telescope that almost didn't get built.
Some of the most influential astronomers thought it was better to spend $300 million by building 20 duplicates of the Palomar 200-inch telescope rather than spending the same amount of money on one very expensive telescope in space.
While some scientists didn't want a space telescope, others couldn't wait to use a large orbiting observatory.
Astronomers had wanted for generations, actually, to get us a telescope.
Tonight, I am directing NASA to develop a permanently manned space station and to do it within a decade.
Is a first and necessary step for sustained manned exploration.
We're going to open new frontiers in outer space. Instead of building weapons in space, Russian scientists will help us to build the International Space Station. Men and women from 16 countries will build a foothold in the heavens.
Research on board the station and here on Earth will help us better understand and overcome the obstacles that limit exploration.
Conducting advanced research that can help improve the daily lives of people here on Earth, as well as testing and improving upon our capabilities in space.
Two, one, booster ignition.
Gemini 4 was the first time that this center was in charge of the mission. That made a statement at that time. It said, okay, by golly, we're ready to go.
I think the control center would be the symbol of what we did in the human space program. It was our place where we came in to execute the missions that we had planned.
Mission control is the heartbeat of any space operations program.
It's a place full of giants, and I will tell you why. Last man on the moon, Gene Cernan, often referred to the men and women in mission control and the people around mission control.
We were riding and standing on their shoulders, and they indeed are giants in American history.
One of the things that was done very early was Gene Kranz brought the team together and told everybody, I want you to go back to your offices. I want you on your blackboards to put tough and competent. And I don't want you to erase those two words.
We're programming our culture, and that's what our culture is. It's achievement through excellence. It's leadership, it's teamwork, it's being part of a bigger team, and your contribution to that team.
But when we face challenges, we need to leverage the entire team in order to overcome those challenges.
You've got to maintain vigilance throughout the entire time of doing this very risky business. We've had 3 major accidents in this business. Apollo 1 fire, we had the loss of Challenger, we had the loss of Columbia. You can't set those things aside, but if you do set them aside for a little bit and you think about all the other missions that we have flown, humans into space, there hasn't been a single mission flown that there wasn't something that had to be done differently during the mission. We've had to change plans. Some of them were major, some of them were minor. But in all cases, the team on the ground in mission control and around mission control and the international partners, when they were involved as well, every time there was a problem,
whether it's the piece of equipment, whether it's the crew inside, or the tasks that are out in front of them, all the details are being thought, well, some guy or gal is executing.
So when you go to sleep at night, you should feel very safe and very secure that you are being watched after all the time.
really bringing different parts of NASA together, the science community and the ops community together to go accomplish a huge mission that's way out, has a lot of capability, such that, okay, it's another platform, again, these small steps to get you to your common goal. And that common goal is getting to Mars.
Going forward, mission control is going to be crucial to any major exploration operation.
Touchdown confirmed. We're safe on Mars.
Drop. And Pegasus is away.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.